Welcome to today's video. 1 Corinthians 2 verse 5 explained that your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God. This verse comes from the Apostle Paul's letter to the Corinthians. Paul is addressing the believers in Corinth, a city known for its intellectualism and philosophical debates. Paul is making a very clear distinction here between human wisdom and divine power. He wants the church to understand that their faith, their foundation as Christians, should not be built on clever arguments or persuasive words from people, but instead, their faith should rest on God's power. Paul had spent time in Corinth preaching the gospel, and he could have used all the skills of rhetoric and philosophy available at that time. But he chose a different approach. He relied on the simple, powerful truth of Jesus Christ and the demonstration of God's Spirit. This was intentional. Paul wanted the believers to realize that true faith is not about being convinced by human logic or impressive speeches, but about encountering the real power of God that changes hearts and lives. This is a lesson that remains important for believers today. In our modern world, there's a lot of emphasis on knowledge, expertise, and scientific understanding. While these things are valuable in their place, Paul reminds us that faith goes beyond what people can figure out with their own intelligence. If our faith is based on human wisdom, it can be shaken when new ideas, challenges, or doubts arise. But if our faith is anchored in God's power, His ability to work in our lives, to transform us, and to keep His promises, then our faith will stand strong no matter what comes our way. Paul's statement also highlights the difference between knowing about God and truly knowing Him. Many people might be able to argue about spiritual topics or quote many facts, but real faith is proven when we experience God's power, His forgiveness, His love, His miracles, and His guidance in our daily lives. That is the kind of faith that Paul wanted the Corinthians and us to have. This verse also serves as a warning against pride. If our faith is based on how clever or educated we are, it can become a source of pride. But if our faith is based on the power of God, it keeps us humble. We recognize that it is not about our own achievements or abilities, but about what God has done and continues to do. In practical terms, this means we should seek God's presence and rely on Him, especially when we face situations that are bigger than us. We should not be discouraged if we do not have all the answers or if we feel inadequate compared to others. What matters most is trusting in God's strength and allowing Him to work through us. So, 1 Corinthians 2 verse 5 challenges us to examine the foundation of our faith. Are we relying on human reasoning, or are we trusting in the power of God? When we anchor our faith in Him, we can face any challenge with confidence, knowing that His power is greater than any wisdom this world can offer.